Hey there, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to talk all about what modifications I did to my 2018 Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sports in order to make it better suit my long-distance travel needs. I did a bunch of modifications to the bike, and today you're going to learn all about it. Alright, now all of you who have seen my last video already know how I configured this motorcycle, and what my goals were. I built this motorcycle in order to accompany me on my planned round the world travels to places like Central Asia, to Mongolia, down to Patagonia, or to India. So these kinds of places is where I intend to travel with this motorcycle, and I intend to do it in a step-by-step fashion, so not all in one all-encompassing trip, because I can't do that, but basically one trip at a time. So that kind of was my goal, and that was how I built this motorcycle. First thing you're going to change probably once you get a motorcycle is the tires. Now these are a little bit dirty, as you can see. These are my Michelin Aniki Adventure that I've just put on about 1,000 kilometers ago. I'm quite pleased with them so far. These are not my travel tires though, these are my around Europe tires. And for what I intend to do with them here, which is mostly on-road riding and some light off-road, they're quite decent. I'll do a long-term review on them once I have more data on their longevity, because I've just ridden them for a little over 1,000 kilometers by now, so I can't really talk about that. For my long distance riding, I have a second pair of rims, and on those rims for the long haul, I have my Motos Tractionator GPS mounted. So that's what I'll use when I do long distance travel. Now the second thing you'll see on my bike is my luggage rack. My luggage rack is the rack itself, so this metal tubing basically, and the metal back plate you're seeing here, that's all done by SW-Motech. And the front plate, the actual holder plate that holds my luggage in place, is done by Kriega. I'm running a soft-luggage system by Kriega that uses this rack setup. You can also use, I think, a GV mount. If your motorcycle doesn't have an SW-Motech mount, they prefer the SW-Motech mount though, because they say it's more rigid, and it was available for my bike, so I went with that. I'm also going to do a separate review on the Kriega bags relatively soon. Next thing I did, a relatively small mod, is I installed a wider foot peg. This is also done by SW-Motech, and it's just so I can put it on some more loose or muddy ground like I'm having it on right now without it sinking in. The next other mod you see is also down here is the foot pegs, as well done by SW-Motech. The original foot pegs that Honda put on here, they were just a little too narrow for my taste. Also, these are adjustable, as you can turn them backwards and forwards to adjust them to how you like it, sitting down or standing up. And as well, they don't have quite those sharp edges that the stock ones had. The stock ones, actually, especially the left ones, that I usually put the left foot down at a stoplight, started to put little tears into my motorcycle pants because the edges on them were just too sharp. So I swapped those out, and I'm very, very happy with these foot pegs. Now the next big thing that I mounted is this crash guard system. So that's the upper crash guard, the lower crash guard, the engine crash guard, and the skid plate. It's all one system, and it was all done by Outback Motortek. It's a very rigid system. Very tough, and the toughest system that I could find for this motorcycle. Now the reason that I put on it is, well, two things. One, the original crash bars that Honda put on there, they did not protect the engine at all, so there's multiple videos that you can find on YouTube of people crashing their Africa Twins off-road and actually ruining their engine cases down here, and then all the oil coming out, and that obviously ends your day. So I didn't want that to happen to me, so I wanted something to protect the lower end of the engine. And also, you can see over here on the other side, I already cracked my plastic fairings on this bike because I crashed it, not really, but tipped it over when I went off-road with the old original crash guards, because they were just too soft. They basically bent in on the bike and it still hit the plastics. So they were not really protecting either end of the bike. They were merely cosmetic, and so I decided to swap them out for a more tough system. Now this system is quite expensive. I think I paid around 800 euros for the whole thing, but it is very tough. Fortunately, I didn't use it yet, but just by the looks of it and by how it feels and by how it's made, compared to the original Honda system, is just a million times better. So I completely expect this system to hold up very well in comparison. I'm also going to do a separate video on just the crash guard system relatively soon. Next thing you're going to see, if we're already down here, is I just installed some metal guards for the radiator. Simple thing, it's made by Altrider. I just didn't trust the plastic guard. The plastic guard is actually still underneath, but it is still there. It's just basically a add-on that goes on top. And yeah, so I've just done that. Was a 10-minute install, nothing much to do. It's just yeah, all that is to say about this subject. I know the center stand is a manufacturer option on the Africa Twin. You can order it with the center stand installed. At least you could in 2018 when this model came out. But I picked one up from the dealer. It was already there on the showroom floor. It's not like I ordered it, it just was already there. And mine didn't have it, so I put an aftermarket one on there, which was a couple hundred euros cheaper, and it works just as well. So I can put it up on a center stand if I need to do some work on the rear wheel, like loop the chain or something like that. So that's just, you know, a little added benefit for the bike, but also not too much that I need to tell you about, I think. Alright, so now we're gonna come to what I did to all the stuff on the handlebar. First thing is the levers. That's the clutch lever as well as the front brake lever over there. They are done by a company called V-Trec. It's basically an adjustable lever, so you can adjust the distance it has from the bar. Just some simple thing. And also, what's most important for me is that it flips up in case of a crash, so it doesn't break off should I drop the bike somewhere in the middle of nowhere. That was my main point in buying them. I know they're already protected by the Barkbusters, but yeah, I just thought having a clutch lever or a front brake lever snap in the middle of nowhere is really a bad day, so I just wanted to avoid that at all costs, and just thought that this is going to be a good idea. Barkbusters SW-Motech, now again, Barkbusters. It doesn't sell in Germany as its own brand. You can't buy it here. They don't have an online shop for here or anything. So they basically rely on SW-Motech selling their stuff. It's SW-Motech branded, but also Barkbusters branded. And if you look on the inside, it actually says www.barkbusters.net, made in Australia. So it is real Barkbusters, just that it's branded differently here in Germany. Yeah, The original ones that were on there, they broke the first time I put the bike down, and so yeah. After that, I mean, already before that, it was clear to me that I needed to swap it out for something with a rigid metal bar inside, and yeah, well, after I ruined the first ones, the factory ones, I swapped these out for these Borkbusters, and they have been doing a phenomenal job for me every time I dropped the bike since nothing ever happened. They didn't move a single millimeter. Then I also put on these bar risers you can see here. It's a 20 millimeters or 2 centimeters bar risers that I've installed. It's the maximum that you can legally install in Germany. Everything more than that is usually going to be a problem with the police, so this is what I had mount there. And additionally, I rearranged the handlebar a little bit, so mine is pushed forward or pushed upward, however you want to describe it, a little bit in order to better suit off-road riding. When it comes from factory, it's very, very comfortable for on-road riding, but not as comfortable when you're in a standing position. And now I kind of split the difference. For pure on-road riding, it should be a little bit lower. For pure off-road riding, it should be higher. But I just split the difference because, you know, I do both on this bike, and it's intended for long travel, as I said. So I kind of split the difference, and in this halfway position, it's still very reasonably comfortable on long rides. But also I can stand up quite well and have a good access to all the levers, and it's also in a comfortable position to reach the whole thing. And the last thing that I mounted is my RAM mount for the phone. I think I don't need to tell you too much about it. Pretty much everybody who is doing long distance riding today has a phone mount on there. I don't run any other system for GPS or anything. I merely rely on my phone for navigation. I have multiple apps on there as well. If I do long distance traveling, I always have paper maps in here. So that is my backup system. I don't use a second GPS as a backup system. I use paper maps. So all I need is really this mount, my phone on there, and that's all I got for navigation most of the time. Alright, you'll see that the setting has changed a bit. The reason for that is that I forgot one thing about my motorcycle that I have changed, and that is this throttle stabilizer by Kaoko. I think it's a South African company, if I'm correct. Yeah. I simply forgot about it because I was standing on the other side of the motorcycle for the most time, and it's such a little item that I just didn't see it. I've had that on there for, well, about 9 months now. I did a 5,000-ish kilometer trip down the Balkans, and I got quite bad back pain on the trip. Especially on the last day when I was riding about 700 kilometers all the way back home. And the reason for that was that this bike does not come with cruise control, so I always had to hold the throttle at some position, and I could never let go of my right hand, and so my back just started hurting quite a bit. I think I gotta move over here a bit. And yes, after that trip, I decided that I need something to be able to relax my right hand as well, so that my back doesn't hurt as badly. And I did that by installing this throttle stabilizer. It's not a real throttle lock, you know, it doesn't lock anything in place. I can merely twist it until the friction resistance goes up a little bit, and then I can just... It just holds the throttle at whatever position I set it to, but I can always just roll it back. It's never locked in place, so it's quite a safe system to have. Nevertheless, it's not quite illegal here in Germany, so I have to take it off every time my bike gets its 2-year inspection. But yeah, that's about it. Otherwise, yeah, that's it for what I had to say additionally. So now back to the original end to the video. Alright folks, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and see you again next time.